"Let me be your first everything," the rich cowgirl whispered to her virgin wife. "Hey, my loves, hit subscribe and tap the bell. It's free and keeps you close to every heartbeat of our next romance. Drop your city or country in the comments. I love seeing where my sweet listeners are from. Feeling extra love? Help this video reach more lovely people by clicking the hype button. Now, back to the story. I should have known my life was about to change the moment I saw her leaning against that fence. But let me back up. My name is Riley Bennett, and 3 weeks ago, I was living in a cramped Seattle apartment with a cat named Hemingway and a crippling student loan debt that made me want to cry every time I checked my bank account. I'd spent 6 years becoming a veterinarian, convinced that loving animals would somehow fill the void of never having loved a person. Not really, anyway. 26 years old, and I'd never had a girlfriend. Never had a boyfriend either. Never had anyone, if I'm being honest. Sure, there were a couple of awkward coffee dates arranged by well-meaning friends, but they never went anywhere. I always found an excuse. Too busy with school. Too focused on my career. Too scared. My therapist said I had intimacy issues. I said I had "I'd rather die than let someone see me naked" issues, which felt more accurate. So when Dr. Patterson from the Seattle Animal Clinic told me about a job opportunity in Montana, head veterinarian position at some massive ranch, I laughed. Montana? I'd never even been further east than Spokane. "Riley, the pay is triple what you're making here," he said, sliding a folder across his desk. "Sinclair Ranch, one of the biggest cattle operations in the state. They want someone young, qualified, and willing to live on site." Live on site? Like, in Montana? Yes, in Montana, where the ranch is located. He gave me that patient look he usually reserved for owners who insisted their dogs were vegetarians. I opened the folder. The numbers made my vision blur. This wasn't just good money. This was pay off my loans in 3 years money. This was actually have savings money. What's the catch? No catch, just very remote. The Sinclairs are old money, cattle dynasty, the whole 9 yards. They apparently had some trouble keeping vets because of the isolation. Isolation. The word should have scared me. Instead, it felt like permission. 2 weeks later, I was driving a U-Haul truck through the most beautiful and terrifying landscape I'd ever seen. Mountains that looked like they could swallow the sky. Roads that stretched forever. And sky. So much sky it made my chest hurt. My phone lost signal about an hour outside of Bozeman. My GPS gave up shortly after. I was navigating by the printed directions they'd mailed me. Actually mailed, like it was 1995, when I finally saw the entrance. Sinclair Ranch. The sign was wrought iron, arching over a dirt road that disappeared into rolling hills. I turned in, my hands sweating on the steering wheel, and drove for another 20 minutes before I saw any buildings. When I did, I had to pull over. This wasn't a ranch. This was a small town. Barns, stables, outbuildings, and in the distance, a house. No, a mansion that looked like it belonged in a Western movie. Everything was immaculate, expensive, intimidating as hell. I sat there in my U-Haul, seriously considering turning around, when someone knocked on my window. I screamed. The woman outside didn't even flinch. She just smiled, all white teeth and confidence, and made a rolling motion with her hand. I lowered the window. "You must be Dr. Bennett," she said. Her voice was low, smooth, with that Western drawl that made everything sound casual and certain at the same time. "I'm Harper Sinclair." Harper Sinclair was not what I expected. I'd pictured someone older, maybe weathered, definitely masculine. Instead, I got a woman around my age wearing perfectly fitted jeans, worn leather boots, and a button-down shirt that somehow looked both casual and expensive. Her dark hair was pulled back in a ponytail, and her eyes, green, sharp, amused, were currently studying me like I was the most interesting thing she'd seen all week. Yes, hi, sorry, you scared me. I noticed. She was still smiling. "You planning on sitting in this truck all day? Or you want to see where you'll be living?" "Right, yes, living." I fumbled with my seatbelt, trying to look like a competent professional and failing spectacularly. Harper stepped back as I climbed out, and I became immediately aware of 3 things. 1, she was taller than me by at least 3 inches. 2, she smelled like leather, and something woodsy that made my brain short-circuit. And 3, she was looking at me the way people look at things they want. Nobody had ever looked at me like that before. "The vet clinic is about half a mile that way," she said, pointing. "Your place is right next to it. Small house, but it's yours. Private. We'll get your stuff unloaded later. Right now, I want to show you the operation." "Okay," I said, because apparently that was the only word I remembered. She started walking, and I followed, trying not to stare at the way she moved. All loose confidence. like she owned every inch of ground she stepped on, which, I guess, she did. "So, Seattle," she said. "Big change." "Yeah, really big. You scared?" The question caught me off guard. I expected small talk, not honesty. "Terrified," I admitted. She glanced back at me, and her smile shifted into something softer. "Good. Means you're smart. This place can be a lot." We walked through the main complex, and Harper pointed out everything. The cattle barns, the equipment sheds, the staff housing. There were people everywhere, all of them nodding at Harper with this mix of respect and familiarity. She knew everyone's name, asked about their families, made jokes that actually landed. I, meanwhile, was trying not to trip over my own feet. "This is the main stable," she said, pushing open a massive door. Inside, it smelled like hay and horse and hard work. "We keep about 40 horses here, quarter horses mostly. Some paints. You ride?" No. I sat on a pony once, at a fair, when I was 8. Harper stopped walking and turned to face me fully. "You're a veterinarian who doesn't ride horses. I specialized in small animals. In Montana." I'm realizing that might have been a planning oversight. She laughed. Actually laughed, head tilted back, the sound echoing through the stable. A few horses poked their heads out of stalls, curious. "Oh, Riley Bennett," she said, and the way she said my name made my stomach flip. "You and I are going to have fun." I didn't know what that meant, but it sounded dangerous. She showed me the vet clinic next, a fully equipped facility that was nicer than the place I'd worked in Seattle. Surgical suite, examination rooms, pharmacy, the works, my own office with my name already on the door. "This is incredible," I breathed. "My grandfather built it in the 70s. We take care of our animals here." She leaned against the doorframe, watching me explore. "And we take care of the people who take care of our animals. The pay is really generous. Money's easy. Finding someone good is hard." She pushed off the frame. "Come on, I'll show you your place." The house was small but perfect. 1 bedroom, full kitchen, a living room with windows that looked out over the mountains. My furniture from Seattle would barely fill half of it. "It's amazing," I said. "Good." Harper walked to the kitchen counter and picked up a set of keys, tossing them to me. I almost dropped them. "Clinic keys, house keys, and that one's for the main house. You're invited to dinner tonight, 6 o'clock. My parents want to meet you." "Your parents? They own the ranch." "Technically, I just run it." She started toward the door, then paused. "Oh, and Riley? Yeah? Wear something comfortable. We're not fancy people." Her eyes traveled down, then back up, just slowly enough to make me blush. "But maybe something a little nicer than what you're wearing now." I looked down at my wrinkled t-shirt and jeans that had seen better days. "Right, got it." She grinned and left, and I stood there in my new house in Montana, wondering what the hell I'd just signed up for. What did you think of Riley's first encounter with Harper? Drop a comment and let me know if you've ever taken a leap of faith like Riley did, leaving everything behind for something completely unknown. I changed clothes 4 times before dinner. First outfit, too casual. Second, trying too hard. Third, made me look like I was going to a funeral. Fourth, back to the second outfit because I was running out of time and my anxiety was reaching critical levels. I stood in front of my bathroom mirror, giving myself a pep talk that wasn't working. "You're a doctor. You've performed surgery. You can handle dinner with your new bosses." The mirror didn't respond, which was probably for the best. At 5:58, I locked my door and walked toward the main house, my heart doing gymnastics in my chest. The sun was setting, turning everything gold and orange, and if I wasn't so terrified, I might have appreciated how beautiful it was. The main house was even more intimidating up close. Wraparound porch, massive oak doors, windows that probably cost more than my entire education. I raised my hand to knock, but the door swung open before I could. Harper stood there, and I forgot how to breathe. She'd changed too. Dark jeans, a deep green shirt that matched her eyes, hair down around her shoulders. She looked like every lesbian fantasy I'd never let myself have. "Right on time," she said. "I like that. I'm always on time. It's like a thing." "A thing?" "A weird anxiety thing where if I'm late, I convince myself everyone hates me." Harper's expression softened. "Nobody here hates you, Riley. Come on." She led me inside, and the interior matched the exterior. All exposed wood beams, leather furniture, and Western art that probably belonged in a museum. But it didn't feel cold. It felt lived in, comfortable. Voices came from what I assumed was the dining room. Harper's hand touched the small of my back, guiding me forward, and I tried not to visibly shiver at the contact. "Mom, Dad, this is Dr. Riley Bennett," Harper announced as we entered. The dining room had a table that could seat 20, but only 3 places were set at one end. A woman in her 50s stood up, smiling warmly. She had Harper's eyes and the kind of elegance that came from generations of money. "Riley, we're so glad you're here. I'm Catherine Sinclair." She shook my hand firmly. "And this is my husband, Thomas." Thomas Sinclair was tall, broad-shouldered, with gray hair and a face that had seen decades of Montana weather. He nodded at me, his handshake even firmer than his wife's. "Dr. Bennett, Harper speaks highly of you." "She does?" I glanced at Harper, who just smirked. "Sit, please," Catherine said. "Harper, help me bring the food." They disappeared into the kitchen, leaving me alone with Thomas Sinclair, who was studying me with an intensity that made me want to confess to crimes I hadn't committed. "Seattle," he finally said. "Yes, sir. Never been. Too many people?" "Definitely too many people." He nodded, like I'd passed some kind of test. "You'll like it here. Quiet. Good place to think." Harper and Catherine returned with platters of food: roast beef, potatoes, vegetables, homemade bread. It smelled incredible and looked like something from a cooking show. "This is amazing," I said as Catherine piled food onto my plate. "We eat well here," Catherine said. "Life's too short for bad food." Dinner conversation flowed easier than I expected. They asked about my background, my training, why I'd chosen veterinary medicine. I found myself relaxing, actually enjoying the evening, until Thomas said, "Harper tells us you're single." I nearly choked on my water. What? Harper kicked her father under the table. I saw it happen. "Dad, what?" "It's a reasonable question. Young woman, living alone, new place, just making conversation." "It's fine," I said, my face burning. "Yes, I'm single, very single, historically single." "Historically?" Catherine looked intrigued. Oh God, why was I still talking? "I just mean, I've been focused on my career. Dating wasn't really a priority." "Smart," Thomas said. "Too many people rush into things." Harper was staring at her plate, but I could see her fighting a smile. After dinner, Catherine insisted on showing me her greenhouse while Thomas and Harper cleaned up. The greenhouse was attached to the house, filled with herbs and flowers that seemed impossible to grow in Montana. "Harper likes you," Catherine said suddenly, deadheading a rose. We just met today. I know my daughter. She gets that look." Catherine turned to face me. "I should tell you something about Harper. She's intense. When she wants something, she goes after it. Always has. Okay? I'm not warning you off. I'm just saying she's been through some things, and if she's interested in you, which she clearly is, she'll be patient. Harper's many things, but she's never pushy." My brain was short-circuiting. "You think Harper is interested in me? Like, romantically?" Catherine smiled. "Honey, she changed clothes 3 times before dinner. That girl hasn't cared what she wore to anything in years." "Oh, yeah, oh." She handed me a sprig of lavender. "Just be honest with her. That's all I ask. Harper can handle rejection. She can't handle games. I don't know how to play games. I barely know how to play anything. Then you'll be fine." We walked back inside, and Harper appeared almost immediately, like she'd been waiting. "Want to see the sunset from the ridge?" she asked. "It's pretty spectacular." I looked at Catherine, who just smiled and shooed us away. Harper led me outside to a waiting pickup truck, because of course she drove a pickup truck. I climbed in, and she drove us up a winding dirt road to a spot overlooking the entire valley. The sunset was insane. Purples and pinks and oranges that didn't look real. We sat on the truck's tailgate, and for a while, neither of us spoke. "Your parents are nice," I finally said. "They like you. How can you tell? Mom doesn't bring out the greenhouse for just anyone." Harper turned to look at me. "Can I ask you something?" "Sure." "Why'd you really leave Seattle?" The question caught me off guard. The job's great, but you could have found good jobs closer to home. Why Montana? Why here?" I stared at the sunset, trying to find words for feelings I'd barely admitted to myself. "I was lonely," I said quietly, which sounds stupid because Seattle has millions of people, but I was so lonely I couldn't breathe sometimes. And I thought, maybe if I went somewhere with fewer people, the loneliness would make more sense. Harper didn't respond immediately. When she did, her voice was soft. "Does it? I don't know yet. Ask me in a month." She bumped her shoulder against mine. "You won't be lonely here. I won't let you be." "Why are you being so nice to me?" "Because I like you. You don't know me. Not yet." She turned fully toward me, and suddenly we were very close. "But I want to, if that's okay." And my heart was doing that thing again where it forgot how to beat properly. "Harper, I should tell you something." "Okay. I've never, God, why were words so hard? I don't have experience with this." "With what?" "Any of this. Dating, relationships. I've never even kissed anyone." I waited for her to laugh, or worse, to look at me with pity. Instead, she smiled, not mocking, just soft and genuine. "Then I get to be your first everything," she said simply. "If you want me to be." "Just like that?" "Just like that." She stood up, offering me her hand. "But first, I'm teaching you to ride a horse. Can't have my vet afraid of the animals she's treating." I took her hand, and she pulled me up, and for the first time in my life, I felt like maybe I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Have you ever had someone see you, really see you for the first time? Tell me about it in the comments. I love hearing your stories. The next morning, I woke up to someone pounding on my door at 6 a.m. "Riley, get up! We're burning daylight!" I stumbled out of bed, brain foggy, and opened the door to find Harper standing there with 2 travel mugs of coffee and a grin that should be illegal before sunrise. "It's 6 in the morning," I croaked. "It's 6:15 actually. You're losing daylight." She pushed past me, set the coffees on my counter, and looked me up and down. "Please tell me you own jeans that aren't skinny jeans." "What's wrong with skinny jeans?" "Everything, when you're learning to ride. You got boots? Rain boots?" Harper closed her eyes like she was praying for patience. "Okay, new plan. We're going shopping first." An hour later, we were in the nearest town, which was 40 minutes away and had a population of about 3,000, standing in a Western wear store that smelled like leather and possibility. "Try these." Harper handed me a pair of boots. "They're expensive." "Try them." I tried them. They fit perfectly, hugging my calves in a way that felt both foreign and right. "Good," Harper said, eyeing them critically. "Now jeans. You're a, what, size 8? How did you—" She was already walking away, returning with 3 pairs of jeans. "Dressing room's in the back." I tried on the jeans while Harper waited outside, and when I stepped out in the first pair, she let out a low whistle that made my entire body flush. "Those work," she said. "They're comfortable. They're perfect." Her eyes lingered just long enough to make her point. "Get all 3 pairs, and grab some t-shirts. Cotton, not that synthetic stuff. You're very bossy about clothes. I'm bossy about everything. You'll get used to it." Back at the ranch, Harper led me to the stables where a beautiful chestnut horse was already saddled and waiting. "This is Honey," Harper said, patting the horse's neck. "She's 15, patient, and has trained more beginners than I can count. If you're going to learn on anyone, it's her." Honey looked at me with big, gentle eyes, and I felt slightly less terrified. "Okay," I said. "What do I do?" For the next 2 hours, Harper taught me the basics: how to approach a horse, how to check the saddle, how to mount without looking like a complete idiot, though I definitely still looked like a complete idiot. "Left foot in the stirrup," Harper instructed, standing close behind me. "Now grab the saddle horn and pull yourself up." I tried. I failed. I tried again. "Here." Harper's hands went to my waist, steadying me. "On 3. 1, 2. She lifted, and suddenly I was in the saddle, way higher off the ground than I expected. "Oh God." "You're fine. Honey's not going anywhere." Harper adjusted my feet in the stirrups, her touch casual and confident. "Hold the reins like this. Gentle. You're not steering a car. This feels dangerous. Everything worth doing feels dangerous." She swung up onto her own horse, a massive black stallion named Maverick, with the kind of easy grace that made me hate her a little bit. "Come on. We're just walking today." We walked, around the paddock, then out into the fields. Honey was indeed patient, tolerating my death grip on the reins and my constant apologies every time I shifted wrong. Harper rode beside me, offering tips, making jokes, telling me stories about growing up on the ranch. "I was 7 the first time I got bucked off," she said. "Thought I was big enough to ride my dad's stallion. Lasted about 8 seconds before I landed face first in the mud." That sounds traumatic. It was character building. My dad made me get right back on. That seems harsh. It was necessary. You fall off, you get back on. That's the rule. She looked over at me. Same goes for everything else in life. We rode until my thighs were screaming and I'd sweated through my new t-shirt. Back at the stables, Harper helped me dismount, catching me when my legs nearly gave out. "Steady," she said, hands on my waist again. "First ride always hits hard. You did good, though. I feel like I'm going to die. Hot bath tonight. Trust me." She was standing very close. Too close. Close enough that I could see the small scar above her left eyebrow, the freckles scattered across her nose. "Harper," I said, my voice embarrassingly breathy. "Yeah? Thank you. For this. For being patient with me. Riley, I'd teach you anything you wanted to learn." Her thumb brushed against my side, just above my hip. "Anything at all." The moment stretched, charged with something I didn't have a name for. Then one of the ranch hands called Harper's name, and she stepped back, the spell broken. "Duty calls," she said. "Go take that bath. I'll see you tomorrow." "Tomorrow? Same time. We're doing this every morning until you can ride well enough to help me check the herds. That sounds like torture. That sounds like job training. She grinned. Besides, I like spending time with you. She left before I could respond, and I stood there in the stable, covered in horsehair and sweat, wondering how someone I'd known for 2 days had managed to completely upend my entire existence. That night, soaking in the hottest bath I could stand, I got a text from an unknown number. Unknown. It's Harper. Got your number from your employment file. Hope that's not creepy. Me. Little bit creepy. Harper. Fair. How's the bath? Me. How do you know I'm in the bath? Harper. Because I told you to take one and you strike me as someone who follows instructions. Me. I'm very rule-oriented. Harper. I'm counting on it. Sleep well, Riley. Tomorrow we're going faster. Me. That sounds ominous. Harper. It's a promise. I stared at that last message for way too long, my heart doing acrobatics, before finally typing back. Me. Good night, Harper. Harper. Sweet dreams, Doc. I dreamed about green eyes and calloused hands, and the way someone's voice could sound like coming home. The next 3 weeks followed the same pattern. Morning rides with Harper, days spent at the clinic treating everything from injured cattle to the ranch manager's diabetic cat. Evenings either having dinner with the Sinclairs or cooking in my small house while texting Harper about absolutely nothing. I was getting better at writing, better at reading Harper's moods, better at living in Montana. What I wasn't getting better at was controlling the way my body reacted every time Harper touched me, smiled at me, or said my name in that low voice that made my brain shut down. You're distracted, Harper said one morning as we rode through the northern pasture. I'm not distracted. You almost rode into a fence 10 minutes ago. That fence came out of nowhere. Harper pulled her horse up alongside mine, studying my face. What's going on in that head of yours? Everything. Nothing. You. I'm just processing, I said lamely. Processing what? This. All of this. Being here. The job. You. Me? I took a deep breath. Harper, what are we doing? Right now? We're checking on the cattle. You know what I mean. She was quiet for a long moment, her hands resting easy on the reins. When she finally spoke, her voice was serious. What do you want us to be doing? I don't know. I've never done this before. Then let me make it simple. She turned Maverick so we were face to face, our horses nearly touching. I like you, Riley. A lot. More than I've liked anyone in a long time. And I hope, you like me too. I do, I whispered. Then let's figure it out together. No pressure. No expectations. Just us. Getting to know each other. Seeing where it goes. What if I'm bad at it? Bad at what? All of it. Dating. Relationships. Physical stuff. Harper's smile was soft. Riley, you can't be bad at being yourself. And that's all I want. You. Exactly as you are. Even though I'm inexperienced and awkward and especially because of that. She reached across the space between our horses and took my hand. Can I take you on a date? A real one? Here? In Montana? There's a town about an hour away. Actual restaurants. A movie theater. The whole 9 yards. She squeezed my hand. Say yes. I looked at her. Really looked at her. At the way the morning sun caught in her hair. The genuine hope in her eyes. The patient set of her shoulders. Yes, I said. Yes, I want to go on a date with you. Her smile could have powered the entire ranch. Saturday night. I'll pick you up at 6. That's very traditional of you. I'm a traditional woman, Riley Bennett. At least when it comes to courting. Courting? Who says courting? I do. Now come on. We've got 3 more pastures to check before lunch. We rode on, my hand still tingling from where she'd held it. And I realized that for the first time in my life, I wasn't afraid of what came next. I was excited. Ever had that moment where someone sees through all your fears and likes you anyway? Drop a comment. I want to hear your stories of taking chances on love. Saturday took forever to arrive. I spent the week obsessing over what to wear, eventually video calling my best friend from Seattle, Jamie, who screamed so loud when I told them about Harper that I had to pull the phone away from my ear. You're going on a date? Riley Ann Bennett is going on a date? It's not that shocking. It's extremely shocking. You once told me you'd rather perform surgery on yourself than go to dinner with another human being. I was in a dark place. You were 24 and it was last year. Jamie leaned closer to their camera. Okay, show me this cowgirl who's got you all flustered. I pulled up Harper's Instagram, which I definitely hadn't been stalking every night, and showed them. Jamie whistled. Okay, yeah, I get it. She can lasso me any day. You're the worst. I'm supportive. This is huge, Rye. You're finally letting someone in. What if I mess it up? Then you mess it up, but at least you tried. Jamie's expression softened. You deserve this. Stop being scared and just feel it. Saturday night arrived with me trying on 7 different outfits before settling on dark jeans, a burgundy sweater, and the boots Harper had helped me pick out. I put on makeup, actual makeup, not just the tinted lip balm I usually wore, and tried to tame my hair into something presentable. At exactly 6 o'clock, Harper knocked on my door. When I opened it, my brain short-circuited. She was wearing black jeans, a crisp white button-down, and a leather jacket that looked soft and expensive. Her hair was down, curled slightly, and she was holding flowers, actual wildflowers that she'd probably picked herself. "You look beautiful," she said, handing me the flowers. "You look—" I couldn't finish the sentence. My vocabulary had apparently abandoned me. "I clean up okay," she smiled. "Ready?" The drive to town was easy, filled with comfortable conversation and country music playing low on the radio. Harper told me about growing up on the ranch, about her 2 years at Montana State before her father got sick, and she'd come back to help run things. "Do you ever regret it?" I asked. "Not finishing college. Sometimes. But the ranch is in my blood. I can't imagine doing anything else." She glanced at me. "What about you? Ever regret the vet thing?" "Never. Animals make sense to me. They're honest. If they don't like you, they let you know. If they're in pain, they show you. No games. Unlike people." "Unlike people," I agreed. The restaurant was a steakhouse that clearly catered to ranchers and locals. Everyone seemed to know Harper, greeting her with waves and nods as we walked to our table. "Popular," I observed. "Small town. Everyone knows everyone." She pulled out my chair before sitting down. "Fair warning. By tomorrow, everyone will know I took you to dinner. Does that bother you?" "Does it bother you?" I thought about it. A month ago, the idea of people talking about my personal life would have sent me into a panic spiral. Now, sitting across from Harper in a dimly lit restaurant, I found I didn't care at all. "No," I said. "It doesn't bother me." Her smile was worth every bit of anxiety I'd felt all week. Dinner was perfect. We talked about everything. Books, movies, embarrassing childhood stories. Harper told me about her ex-girlfriend, a woman named Dakota who'd left 3 years ago because she couldn't handle ranch life. "It was mutual," Harper said. "She wanted the city. I wanted the land. Sometimes people don't fit, no matter how much you want them to." "Do you think—" I hesitated. "Do you think I fit? Here? On the ranch? With you?" Harper reached across the table and took my hand, her thumb tracing circles on my palm. "I think you fit perfectly, Riley. Like you were always supposed to end up here." After dinner, we walked around the small downtown, looking at the handful of shops that were still open. Harper bought me a ridiculous cowboy hat from a tourist trap, insisting I needed the full Montana experience. "I look stupid," I said, checking my reflection in a store window. "You look cute." She adjusted the hat slightly. "Really cute. You're biased." "Extremely." She took my hand. "Come on. There's something I want to show you." She drove us out of town, up a winding road to a lookout point. Below us, the lights of the town twinkled like stars, and above us, the actual stars were so bright and numerous they didn't look real. We sat on the hood of her truck, and Harper pointed out constellations I'd never learned the names of. "My dad taught me all these," she said. "Used to bring me up here when I was a kid, especially when I was upset about something." "What would you get upset about?" "Stupid stuff, friend drama, bad grades. When I realized I liked girls and didn't know how to tell anyone." "How old were you?" 13. Took me 2 more years to actually say it out loud." "How did your parents react?" "My mom cried. Happy tears. My dad said, 'Okay, long as you still help with the cattle.' That was it." She looked at me. "What about you? When did you know?" "Always, I think. I just never did anything about it. Too scared." "Of what?" "Everything. Being vulnerable. Getting hurt. Not being good enough." Harper turned to face me fully, her expression serious. "Riley, you are enough. More than enough. And anyone who made you feel otherwise was an idiot. You barely know me. I know enough. I know you're brilliant and kind and funny. I know you apologize to horses when you think you're sitting wrong. I know you check on the ranch cats every morning before you even go to your clinic. I know you hum when you're concentrating." She cupped my face with one hand. "I know I want to kiss you, and I've wanted to since the moment I saw you in that U-Haul truck." My heart stopped. "Oh, but only if you want me to." Did I want her to? I'd never been kissed, never even come close. The thought terrified me. It also thrilled me more than anything ever had. "I don't know what I'm doing," I whispered. "That's okay. I do." She leaned in slowly, giving me time to pull away. "Just feel, Riley. Stop thinking and just feel." When her lips touched mine, the world stopped spinning. The kiss was soft, gentle, nothing like the aggressive kisses I'd seen in movies. Harper's hand cradled my jaw, her thumb stroking my cheek, and she tasted like coffee and mint and something uniquely her. I made an embarrassing sound, somewhere between a sigh and a whimper, and Harper smiled against my mouth. "You okay?" she murmured. "More than okay." She kissed me again, deeper this time, and I let myself get lost in it, in her, in the feeling of finally understanding what all the fuss was about. When we finally pulled apart, I was breathing hard, my hands fisted in her jacket. "Wow," I said eloquently. "Yeah," Harper pressed her forehead to mine. "Wow, is it always like that?" "No, that was special." She pulled back enough to look at me. "You're special, Riley." We stayed there for another hour, talking and kissing and watching the stars, until Harper reluctantly said we should head back. The drive home was quiet but comfortable, her hand resting on my thigh, mine covering hers. At my door, she kissed me goodnight one more time. "Get some sleep," she said. "Tomorrow we're riding to the North Ridge. More torture? More quality time." She kissed my forehead. "Sweet dreams, Doc." I watched her drive away, then floated into my house, touching my lips and grinning like an idiot. Jamie called immediately. "How was it?" "Details. Now." "It was perfect. She's perfect. Everything is perfect." "You kissed?" "We kissed." Jamie screamed again. "Finally! My baby's all grown up." The next few weeks passed in a blur of morning rides, stolen kisses, and falling completely, helplessly in love with Harper Sinclair. She was patient with my inexperience, never pushing, always checking in. We'd spend evenings in her office while she did paperwork, me reading on her couch, our legs tangled together. "You don't have to stay," she'd say. "This is boring. I like being here, with you." She'd smile and go back to work, and I'd go back to my book, and it felt domestic and perfect and right. 2 months after our first date, the Sinclairs announced they were going to a cattle convention in Las Vegas. "You should come," Harper said over dinner. "Both of you." "Both of us?" I looked at Catherine. "You're part of the ranch now," Thomas said. "Makes sense for our head vet to see how these things work." So I found myself in Las Vegas, overwhelmed by lights and crowds and the sheer absurdity of cowboys in a casino. The convention itself was boring, lots of talking about breeding and feed costs, but the evenings were fun. Harper and I explored the strip, took ridiculous photos, ate at restaurants that had more forks than I knew what to do with. On the third night, Harper and I were walking back from dinner, both a little tipsy from the wine we'd had, when we passed a wedding chapel. "That's tacky," I said, pointing at the neon sign. "That's Vegas, baby." Harper did a terrible Elvis impression, making me laugh. "People actually get married there? All the time. Drunk people, mostly. That seems like a terrible decision." "Probably." She pulled me closer, her arm around my waist. "Would be pretty funny, though." "What would?" "Getting married. In Vegas. Like idiots." I laughed. "That would be insane. Completely insane." She stopped walking, turning to face me. "We should do it." "Do what?" "Get married. Right now." I stared at her, waiting for the punchline. It didn't come. "Harper, you're drunk." "I'm tipsy. There's a difference." She cupped my face. "Riley, I love you. I'm in love with you. Have been since that first day. And I know it's fast and crazy and completely impulsive, but life's short, and I don't want to waste time. You love me? So much it scares me." "I love you too," I whispered, the words feeling right and true. "Then marry me. Not because it's smart or logical, but because you want to. Because we want to." Every rational part of my brain was screaming no. This was crazy. We'd known each other for 2 months. People didn't do this. But when had I ever listened to the rational part of my brain? "Okay," I said. "Okay, let's get married." Harper's smile was brighter than all the lights in Vegas combined. 20 minutes later, we were standing in the Chapel of Eternal Love, an Elvis impersonator officiating, giggling like teenagers as we exchanged plastic rings and said vows we'd probably forget by morning. "I now pronounce you wife and wife," Elvis declared. "You may kiss your bride." Harper kissed me, and I kissed her back. And in that moment, it felt like the best decision I'd ever made. We stumbled back to our hotel room. Harper had upgraded us to a suite, away from her parents, and fell onto the bed, laughing and kissing and whispering wife to each other like it was the funniest, most wonderful word in the world. "We actually did it," I said. "We actually did it." Harper propped herself up on one elbow, looking down at me. "Any regrets? Ask me in the morning." But morning came, and I didn't have regrets. Panic, yes. Confusion about what we'd done, definitely. But regrets, not a single one. "We're married," Harper said, staring at the certificate on the nightstand. "We're married," I confirmed. "My parents are going to kill us, probably." She rolled over, pulling me close. "Worth it, though." "Yeah," I agreed, kissing her. "Worth it." We told Thomas and Catherine at breakfast. Thomas choked on his coffee. Catherine just laughed and laughed and laughed. Of course you did, she finally said. Of course my impulsive daughter married someone she's known for 2 months in a Vegas chapel. Why would I expect anything different? You're not mad? Harper asked. Mad? Honey, I'm relieved. We were wondering how long it would take you to lock her down. I looked at Catherine. What? Please. We could see this coming from a mile away. She smiled at me. Welcome to the family officially. Thomas raised his coffee cup. To the newlyweds. May your marriage last longer than your engagement. We flew back to Montana as wives, and I kept staring at the cheap plastic ring on my finger, wondering how my life had become so beautifully, wonderfully insane. Have you ever done something completely impulsive that turned out to be the best decision ever? Tell me about it. And if you're enjoying Riley and Harper's story, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss what happens next. Being married to Harper Sinclair was, in a word, intoxicating. We moved my stuff into the main house, into Harper's room, which was more of a suite, really. King-sized bed, walk-in closet, bathroom with a tub big enough for 2. Catherine had it redecorated within a week, adding touches that made it feel like ours instead of just Harper's. Mom's nesting, Harper explained, watching her mother debate between 2 different throw pillows. She's been waiting for this. For you to get married? For me to be happy. She wrapped her arms around me from behind, chin on my shoulder. I haven't been, not really, since Dakota. Mom noticed. And now I'm disgustingly happy. It's annoying how happy I am. Life fell into a new rhythm. Morning rides, work at the clinic, evenings with Harper. We'd have dinner with her parents a few times a week, and on other nights, we'd cook together in our room's kitchenette, learning each other's routines and preferences. Harper liked her coffee black. I needed mine with cream and sugar. She was a morning person. I was decidedly not. She stole all the blankets. I stole all the pillows. We fit together perfectly, even our differences complementing rather than conflicting. The physical side of our relationship progressed slowly, at my pace. Harper never pushed, never demanded. She'd kiss me until I was breathless, touch me until I was shaking, then pull back and ask if I was okay, if I wanted to continue, if anything was too much. You don't have to be so careful, I told her one night, frustrated with my own nervousness. Yes, I do. Your first time should be perfect, Riley. Or at least as perfect as I can make it. What if I'm bad at it? Impossible. You're good at everything you try. She kissed my neck. Besides, it's not a performance. It's just us, learning each other. When did you become so wise? I've always been wise. You're just now noticing. When we finally did make love, 3 weeks after Vegas, in our bed, with rain pattering against the windows, it was nothing like I'd feared and everything I'd hoped for. Harper was patient and attentive, and so careful with me that I cried, though not from pain. You okay? She asked, concerned. I'm perfect. This is perfect. You're perfect. You're crying. Happy tears, is that okay? She smiled and kissed them away. That's more than okay. Afterward, lying tangled together, Harper traced patterns on my shoulder. What are you thinking? She asked. That I was an idiot for waiting so long. For this? For everything. For letting myself be scared of feeling things. I turned to face her. Thank you. For what? For being patient. For making me feel safe. For loving me. Riley, loving you is the easiest thing I've ever done. 3 months into our marriage, I noticed things. Small things at first. The way Thomas and Catherine would exchange glances when Harper and I entered a room together. The way they'd ask pointed questions about our future plans. The way Catherine kept accidentally leaving baby catalogs in the living room. Your parents are being weird, I told Harper one night. They're always weird. Weirder than usual. Your mom asked me yesterday if I'd ever thought about kids. Harper tensed slightly. What did you say? That I hadn't really thought about it. Why? Do you want kids? Someday, maybe. Not right now. She was quiet for a moment. Did she say anything else? Just that the ranch needs an heir eventually. She was joking, I think. Right. Joking. The next morning, I was at the clinic when I heard raised voices coming from the main house. Not wanting to eavesdrop, but unable to help myself, I moved closer. Can't keep avoiding the conversation. That was Thomas. I'm not avoiding anything. Harper's voice, tight with frustration. We just got married, Dad. Can you give us some time? Time isn't what we have. Catherine now, her usual warmth replaced with something harder. The lawyers were very clear about the timeline. I know what they said. Then you know what's at stake. I knocked on the door, making my presence known. The conversation cut off immediately. Riley, Catherine's smile was too bright. We were just discussing ranch business, Thomas finished. Nothing important. Harper's jaw was clenched, her eyes avoiding mine. Okay, I said slowly. I just came to see if anyone wanted lunch. Actually, Harper, could you help your father with the fence repairs? Catherine was already ushering Thomas toward the door. Riley and I can handle lunch. Before Harper could protest, her parents were gone, and I was left alone with Catherine, who suddenly looked nervous. Is everything okay? I asked. Of course. Everything's wonderful. She started pulling ingredients from the fridge with excessive enthusiasm. How do you feel about grilled cheese? Catherine, what's going on? Nothing's going on. We're making lunch. I heard you guys arguing. Her hand stilled. Riley, is it about me? Did I do something wrong? No. God, no, honey, you're perfect. You're exactly what this family needed. She turned to face me fully. It's complicated. Try me. I'm pretty smart. She laughed, but it sounded sad. Can we make lunch first? This conversation requires carbs. Over grilled cheese and tomato soup, comfort food that felt ominous given the circumstances, Catherine told me the truth. Thomas's father, Harper's grandfather, built this ranch from nothing. When he died, he left it to Thomas with some very specific conditions in his will, okay? One of those conditions was that the ranch must pass to a direct descendant, and that descendant must be married and settled before Thomas turned 65. My stomach dropped. When does Thomas turn 65? In 8 months. And if Harper isn't settled, the ranch gets sold. The entire thing. All the land, the cattle, everything. It goes to the highest bidder, and the money gets donated to charity. Catherine's eyes were wet. Thomas's father was old-fashioned. He believed in family legacy, in passing things down properly. He didn't trust that Thomas would ensure the ranch's future without some motivation. So Harper needed to be married. And we need to prove there's a next generation secured. The lawyers are very specific about that. You mean kids. I mean pregnancy. The will states that Harper must be married with a child on the way before Thomas's 65th birthday. If not, we lose everything. I felt sick. So our marriage? Riley, no. Harper loves you. She wanted to marry you. But yes, the timing was convenient. Convenient. The word tasted bitter. She was going to tell you. She just wanted you to settle in first, to be happy here. When was she planning to mention it? Before or after she got me pregnant? That's not, we would never. Catherine looked miserable. I know how this sounds, but Harper's feelings for you are real. Everything between you two is real, except the part where she needed a wife for legal reasons. She needed a wife for many reasons. The will just provided a deadline. I stood up, my chair scraping against the floor. I need some air. Riley, please. But I was already walking out, my mind racing, my heart breaking into pieces I wasn't sure how to put back together. I ended up at the North Ridge, the place where Harper had first kissed me, staring out at the mountains and trying to process what I'd learned. Everything clicked into place with horrible clarity. The quick proposal, her parents' enthusiasm, the marriage in Vegas, Catherine's questions about children. I was a solution to a problem, a convenient answer to keep the ranch and the family. I knew you'd be here. I turned to find Harper walking toward me, her expression guilty and pained. Don't, I said. Don't come closer. She stopped. Catherine told you. She told me everything. About the will, about the deadline, about why you really married me. That's not why I married you. Bullshit. Riley, you lied to me. You let me think this was real, that you actually wanted me, when really I was just I couldn't finish the sentence. You are not just anything. Harper's voice cracked. You are everything. Yes, the will is real. Yes, the deadline exists. But I didn't marry you because of that. Then why did you marry me so fast? Why Vegas? Why not wait? Take our time. Because I was falling in love with you, and I was scared you'd leave if you knew the truth. Because I'm an idiot who thought she could have both, the ranch and you, without you feeling like a means to an end. But that's exactly what I am. No. Harper took a step forward. You're my wife. You're the person I want to wake up next to every morning. You're the one who makes me laugh and challenges me and sees me for who I really am. She was crying now, tears streaming down her face. The will is a problem we have to solve, but you are not a solution, Riley. You're my future. How am I supposed to believe that? Because I'm telling you the truth, finally, completely. She wiped her eyes. I should have told you before we got married. I was wrong. I was selfish and scared, and I screwed up. But my feelings for you are real. This marriage is real. Everything between us is real. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her so badly. What happens if we don't have kids? If I'm not pregnant in 8 months? Then we lose the ranch. And you'd resent me. I would never resent you. How can you know that? Because I'd choose you over the ranch every time. She closed the distance between us, taking my hands. Riley, I love you. I love you more than this land. More than the legacy. More than any of it. If we lose the ranch, we lose it. but I am not losing you. You're saying that now. I'm saying it forever. I don't need the ranch to be happy. I need you. I wanted to pull away. I wanted to be angry, to feel betrayed, and part of me did feel those things. But a bigger part recognized the truth in Harper's eyes, the desperation in her voice, the way she was looking at me like I was her entire world. I can't make this decision right now, I said quietly. I need time to think, to figure out what I want. Okay, Harper nodded, even though I could see it hurt her. Take all the time you need. I'll be here, waiting, forever, if that's what it takes. I pulled my hands free and walked past her, back toward the main house, back toward a life that suddenly felt complicated and uncertain. In our room, because it was still our room, still our bed, even if I didn't know what that meant anymore. I curled up under the covers and let myself cry. Harper didn't come in. She gave me space, like she'd promised. But through the door, I could hear her in the hallway, talking to her mother. She hates me. She doesn't hate you, honey. She's hurt. There's a difference. I ruined everything. No, you just made it complicated, which, admittedly, is your specialty. A sound that might have been a laugh or a sob. What do I do, Mom? You give her time. You be honest. And you hope that what you two have is strong enough to survive your stupidity. And if it's not, then you let her go. Because that's what love is, Harper. Putting their happiness above your own. I pressed my face into the pillow and cried harder, because despite everything, despite the lies and the manipulation and the convenient timing, I still loved her. God help me. I still loved her completely. Have you ever discovered something about your relationship that made you question everything? How did you handle it? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I could use some perspective right now. I stayed in our room for 2 days. Catherine brought me meals, sitting with me while I picked at food I didn't want. Harper texted constantly. Apologies, declarations of love, promises to give me space, but I didn't respond. I couldn't. Every time I tried to form words, they jumbled in my head, mixing anger with love, betrayal with understanding. On the 3rd day, I finally left the room. Harper was in the kitchen, making coffee, dark circles under her eyes that matched mine. She looked up when I entered, hopeful and terrified all at once. "Hi," she said softly. "Hi. Coffee? Please." We sat at the kitchen island in silence, both holding mugs, both afraid to speak first. "I miss you," Harper finally said. "Even though you're right here, I miss you. I miss you too." And I did. Despite everything, I missed her laugh, her touch, the easy comfort of being near her. But I'm still hurt. I know. You should be. Why didn't you just tell me? From the beginning? Harper stared into her coffee. Because I was afraid you'd think that's all you were. A solution to a problem. And by the time I realized I should tell you, we were already in so deep that I couldn't figure out how to say it without destroying everything. So you said nothing. So I said nothing, which was worse. I see that now. I took a sip of coffee, trying to organize the chaos in my head. "Tell me about Dakota." Harper looked up, surprised. "What? Your ex. You said she left because she couldn't handle ranch life. Was that the whole truth?" Harper was quiet for a long moment. "No. The truth is, I tried to marry her when the will first became an issue. I was 24, scared of losing the ranch, and I thought if I just checked the boxes, everything would work out. What happened? She said no. Said she knew I didn't really love her. Not the way you're supposed to love someone you marry. She left, and I spent 3 years pretending I was fine when really I was just terrified and alone. And then I showed up, and then you showed up, and for the first time I felt something real, something I didn't have to force or fake." Harper's eyes met mine. "Riley, I know the timing looks suspicious. Hell, it is suspicious. But I swear to you, what I feel for you has nothing to do with that damn will." "How can I know that?" "Because I'm giving you a choice. Right now, no pressure, no conditions." She took a breath. "If you want to leave, I'll help you pack. I'll write you the best recommendation letter any vet has ever received. I'll make sure you land somewhere perfect, and we'll get the marriage annulled, no questions asked. You'd lose the ranch. I'd lose the ranch. But I'd keep my integrity, and I'd know I did right by you, which matters more." I stared at her, this woman I'd married in a Vegas chapel, this complicated, imperfect person I'd somehow fallen in love with. "What if I stay?" Hope flickered in Harper's eyes. "Then we figure it out together. The will, the deadline, all of it. We make decisions as a team. Full honesty, no more secrets. And the baby part? Only if you want it. Only if we both want it. I'm not trapping you into anything, Riley. You're my wife, not my broodmare." The crudeness of the statement made me laugh despite myself. That's a terrible thing to say, but accurate. You're a person, with your own wants and needs. If you don't want kids, we'll figure out something else. Maybe we lose the ranch. Maybe I talked to the lawyers about contesting the will. I don't know. But we face it together. Or not at all. I set down my coffee mug. I need you to understand something. Anything. I didn't grow up with money. My parents are good people. But we struggled. I paid for vet school with loans I'll be paying off for decades. This ranch, this life, it's more than I ever imagined for myself. Okay, so when I found out about the will, part of me wondered if I was just convenient. The right person at the right time with the right parts to solve your problem. Riley, let me finish. I took a shaky breath, but then I thought about everything else. The way you look at me, the way you're patient with my anxieties, the way you make me coffee exactly how I like it, even though you think it's too sweet, the way you held me after my first time and made me feel beautiful instead of scared. Harper's eyes were wet. Those things can't be faked, I continued. I know that. In my rational brain, I know that. But my anxious brain is very loud, and it keeps telling me I'm not enough, that eventually you'll realize you settled, that I'm just... Stop. Harper stood and moved around the island, taking my face in her hands. You are not just anything. You are brilliant and beautiful, and the best thing that's ever happened to me. And I will spend every day for the rest of our lives proving that to you if you let me. Even if we lose the ranch, even then. Especially then, because you'll know for sure that I chose you over everything else. I kissed her, and it felt like coming home, like finding solid ground after weeks of free-falling. I'm still hurt, I said against her lips. I know, and I'm going to be suspicious and paranoid for a while. I know, and if you ever lie to me again, I won't. I swear, Riley. No more secrets. I pulled back to look at her. Okay, I'll stay. We'll figure this out together. Harper's smile was brilliant. Really? Really? But we're doing this my way. Anything. Name it. First, I want to meet with the lawyers. I want to understand the will completely, see if there are any loopholes or alternatives. Done. Second, we're going to therapy, marriage counseling, because we clearly have communication issues. Absolutely. Third, if, and this is a big if, we decide to have a baby, it's because we both want it, not because of a deadline, not because of the ranch, because we're ready to be parents. Agreed. And fourth, I took her hand. We're getting real wedding rings. These plastic Vegas ones are embarrassing. Harper laughed and kissed me again. Deal. The next week was a whirlwind of lawyers, therapy sessions, and difficult conversations. The lawyers confirmed what Catherine had told me. The will was ironclad. For the ranch to stay in the family, Harper needed to be married with a confirmed pregnancy before Thomas's 65th birthday. There were no loopholes, no exceptions. What if we contest it? I asked. The lawyer, an older woman named Patricia who'd worked with the Sinclair family for 30 years, shook her head. You'd lose. The grandfather's wishes were explicit, and he had the legal right to dispose of his property as he saw fit. Even if it means destroying everything he built, he believed the family legacy was worth protecting. This was his way of ensuring that protection. Our therapist, Dr. Morrison, was more helpful. She worked with us on communication strategies, on voicing fears before they became resentments, on building trust after it had been damaged. Harper, she said during our third session, you need to understand that your actions, however well-intentioned, created a power imbalance in this relationship. Riley needs to know she has agency, that her choices matter. I know, Harper said. I'm trying to fix that. And Riley, Dr. Morrison turned to me. You need to decide if you can forgive her. Not immediately, but eventually. Because holding on to anger will poison what you're trying to build. That night, lying in bed with Harper's arms around me, I made my decision. I want to have a baby with you, I said quietly. Harper stiffened. Riley, you don't have to. I know I don't have to, but I want to. Not because of the will, but because I can see it. Us, with a kid, teaching them to ride horses, reading them bedtime stories, building a life together. Are you sure? I'm sure that I love you. I'm sure that despite the messy start, this feels right. I'm sure that I want a future with you, whatever that looks like. I turned to face her. So yes, I'm sure. Harper kissed me softly. We're going to be amazing parents. We're going to be disasters. Amazing disasters. We started the process immediately. Fertility specialists, donors, the whole complicated medical maze. It was invasive and awkward and sometimes painful, but we did it together. 3 months later, 2 pink lines appeared on a pregnancy test. I stared at them, hands shaking, before walking into the living room where Harper was reviewing ranch accounts. Harper, she looked up. What's wrong? I held up the test. For a moment, she didn't move. Then she was across the room, picking me up and spinning me around, both of us laughing and crying at once. We're having a baby, she said, wonderstruck. We're having a baby, I confirmed. Thomas and Catherine were ecstatic. The lawyers were satisfied. The ranch was saved. But more importantly, Harper and I were happy. Really, genuinely happy. Over the next 6 months, as my belly grew and we painted a nursery and argued about baby names, I fell even more in love with my wife. She was attentive and sweet, worried about every symptom, excited about every milestone. What if I'm a terrible mom? I asked one night, my hands on my swollen stomach. Impossible. You're going to be incredible. How do you know? Because you care so much about everything you do. You'll care about our kid the same way. What if they hate me? Then we'll bribe them to love you. With ponies. That's terrible parenting. That's Sinclair parenting. We're very good at bribery. Our daughter was born on a Tuesday morning in March, after 14 hours of labor that had Harper more panicked than me. You're squeezing my hand really hard, she said at one point. I'm pushing a human out of my body, Harper. Right. Squeeze away. When they placed our daughter on my chest, tiny and perfect and screaming, I looked at Harper's odd face and knew that every complication, every lie, every difficult conversation had been worth it. She's perfect, Harper breathed. What should we name her? We debated names for months without agreeing on anything. But looking at our daughter, the answer was obvious. Grace, I said. Grace Catherine Sinclair Bennett. Harper smiled. Perfect. That night, with Grace sleeping in her hospital bassinet and Harper dozing in the chair next to my bed, I thought about how far I'd come. From a lonely apartment in Seattle to a ranch in Montana. From never been kissed to married with a child. Life was strange and surprising and messy, but it was mine, and I wouldn't change a single thing. Has life ever taken you in a completely unexpected direction? One that seemed wrong at first, but turned out to be exactly what you needed? Share your story in the comments. I love hearing about life's beautiful surprises. Grace was 3 months old when everything fell apart. Not the marriage, not our family, something worse. It started with a phone call. Harper was out checking the herd, and I was home with Grace, who'd just fallen asleep after a marathon feeding session. My phone rang, an unknown number with a Montana area code. Hello? Is this Riley Sinclair Bennett? A woman's voice, professional and cold. Yes? My name is Olivia Chen. I'm an attorney representing the estate of Robert Sinclair. Robert Sinclair, Harper's grandfather, the man whose will had dictated so much of our lives. Okay? My stomach dropped. Is something wrong? I need to meet with you, privately, without Harper or her parents present. Why? Because there's information about the will, about your marriage, that you need to know. Information the Sinclairs have been keeping from you. My mouth went dry. What information? Not over the phone. Can you meet me tomorrow? There's a coffee shop in town. The Grind. Noon? I have a baby. I can't just bring her. This is important, Mrs. Sinclair Bennett. Your future depends on it. She hung up before I could respond. I stood there, Grace asleep in my arms, my mind racing. More secrets? What else could there possibly be? That night, I didn't tell Harper about the call. I told myself it was because I didn't want to worry her over nothing. But truthfully, I was scared. Scared of what I might learn. Scared of how it might change things. The next day, I told Harper I was taking Grace into town for her checkup, a lie that made my stomach hurt, and drove to the Grind. Olivia Chen was already there, sitting in a corner booth with a briefcase and an expression that promised nothing good. Mrs. Sinclair Bennett, thank you for coming. She gestured to the seat across from her. Can I get you anything? Just tell me what this is about. She opened her briefcase and pulled out a thick folder. How much do you know about Robert Sinclair's will? I know that Harper needed to be married with a baby on the way before Thomas turned 65, or the ranch gets sold. That's the simplified version. She slid a document across the table. This is the actual will. Have you read it? No. The lawyers explained the relevant parts. The lawyers explained what the Sinclairs wanted you to know. She pointed to a specific section. Read paragraph 12. I read it. Then read it again, because surely I'd misunderstood. This says, I looked up at her. This says the marriage has to last a minimum of 5 years. And if it ends before then, the ranch still gets sold. Correct. But nobody told me that. Because if you knew you were locked into a 5-year marriage, you might not have agreed to it. My hands were shaking. Why are you telling me this now? Because 3 days ago, I received a letter from Harper Sinclair's attorney. She's filing for an amendment to the will, claiming that since you've fulfilled the pregnancy requirement, the marriage clause should be considered satisfied. The world tilted. She's what? She's trying to get out of the 5-year requirement, which suggests that she's planning to end the marriage once the ranch is secured. No, that's not. Harper wouldn't. Mrs. Sinclair Bennett, I'm not here to upset you. but you deserve to know the truth." She pulled out another document. "This is a text exchange between Harper and her previous attorney, dated 2 weeks before you moved to Montana." I read the texts, and my heart shattered. Harper, found a prospect. New vet, young, single, perfect. Attorney, you sure about this? Using someone? Harper, it's not using. It's practical. I'll take care of her after. Make sure she lands well. Attorney, and if she falls in love with you? Harper, then I'll deal with it. But the ranch comes first. "When were these sent?" I asked, my voice barely working. 2 weeks before you arrived, before you'd even accepted the job. So I was targeted from the beginning. It appears so. I'm sorry. Grace started fussing, and I automatically started rocking her, my body going through the motions while my brain screamed. "Why are you showing me this?" I asked. "What do you want?" "I want you to understand what you're dealing with. Robert Sinclair was my client for 30 years. I helped him draft this will, and I've always had concerns about how the family has interpreted it." She leaned forward. "The will has a clause that the Sinclairs don't know about, one that I'm prepared to invoke if necessary." "What clause?" "If the marriage is proven to be fraudulent, entered into solely for the purpose of satisfying the will's requirements, the ranch gets donated immediately. No 5-year wait, no second chances. You'd destroy them." I'd uphold my client's wishes. He wanted real family legacy, not legal maneuvering. "Why tell me this? Why not just invoke the clause?" She sat back. "Because despite everything, I believe you genuinely care about Harper, and I think there might be more to your marriage than strategy." She pushed a card across the table. "My number. If you decide you want out, if you want to leave and ensure the Sinclairs face consequences for their deception, call me. I'll make it happen. And if I don't call, then I'll watch and wait." "But Riley," she looked at Grace, sleeping peacefully in my arms. "That little girl deserves parents who chose each other out of love, not obligation. Think about that." She left, and I sat there in the coffee shop, my baby in my arms and my world falling apart. I didn't go home. I couldn't face Harper, couldn't look at her without seeing those texts, that cold calculation. Instead, I drove to the ridge, the place where this had all started, and tried to figure out what the hell to do. My phone buzzed. "Harper, Harper, where are you? Thought you'd be back by now. Harper, Grace okay? Harper, Riley, you're scaring me. Please answer." I typed and deleted 5 different responses before finally settling on, "Me, need some time alone. We're fine. Harper, what happened? Talk to me. Me, not right now." I turned off my phone. Grace woke up hungry, and I fed her there on the hood of the truck, my tears falling silently while she nursed, oblivious to the chaos around her. "What do I do, baby girl?" I whispered. "How do I forgive this?" She just looked at me with Harper's green eyes and made little contented sounds. By the time I drove back to the ranch, it was dark. The main house was lit up, and I could see figures moving inside, probably Harper and her parents, worried about where I'd been. I didn't go to the main house. I went to my old place, the small house I'd lived in when I first arrived. It was still furnished, still functional, kept as a guest house now. I carried Grace inside, set up her portable crib, and finally turned my phone back on. 23 missed calls, 47 text messages, all from Harper. The most recent one, sent 10 minutes ago. "Harper, I know you're back. I saw your truck. I'm on the porch of your old place. I'm not leaving until you talk to me." I looked out the window. She was there, sitting on the steps, her head in her hands. I opened the door. She looked up, relief and fear mixing on her face. "Riley, don't." I held up my hand. "Just don't. What happened? Why did you disappear? Is Grace okay?" "Grace is fine. I'm not." I leaned against the doorframe, suddenly exhausted. "I met with Olivia Chen today." Harper went pale. "Olivia Chen? Your grandfather's attorney, the one who actually knows what's in the will." I crossed my arms. "The one who told me about the 5-year marriage requirement that nobody bothered mentioning. The one who showed me your texts from before I moved here." "Oh, God." Harper stood up. "Riley, I can explain." "Can you? Can you explain how you targeted me before we even met? How you calculated that I'd be perfect for your needs? How this entire thing was a setup from the start? It wasn't like that." "Then what was it like, Harper? Because those texts are pretty clear. I'll take care of her after. Make sure she lands well. Like I'm a problem to be managed." "I was scared." Harper's voice broke. "I was terrified of losing everything my family built. And yes, when I saw your resume, I thought you might be a solution. But the moment I met you, the moment I actually saw you, everything changed. How am I supposed to believe that? Because it's true. Yes, I noticed you fit the requirements. Yes, I thought you might work out practically. But I fell in love with you, Riley. Really in love. Not strategically, not conveniently. I fell so hard it scared me. You lied to me. Again. I know. And I'm sorry. I'm so fucking sorry. She took a step closer. But everything since then, everything we've built, that's real. Our life together. Grace. All of it. Is it? Or am I just locked into a 5-year contract? Harper flinched. You know about that. I know that you're trying to get out of it. That you filed to amend the will. To protect you. Harper's eyes were desperate. Because I didn't want you to feel trapped. I wanted to remove that requirement so you'd know you could leave if you wanted to. That you weren't stuck with me. I stared at her. What? The amendment. It's not about ending our marriage. It's about giving you freedom. I love you, Riley. I want you to stay. But I want it to be your choice, not a legal obligation. You expect me to believe that? Yes. God, yes. She pulled out her phone, pulling up emails. Look, read them. This is my correspondence with the lawyer. I'm not trying to leave you. I'm trying to free you. I took the phone, reading through the emails, and slowly, sickeningly, I realized she was telling the truth. Harper wasn't trying to escape. She was trying to give me an escape route. Why didn't you tell me? I asked quietly. Because I didn't want you to think about leaving. I wanted you to stay because you love me, not because you're legally required to. She took my hand. Riley, I have been a coward and a liar, and I have made so many mistakes, but my love for you, that's the one thing I've been honest about from the start. I wanted to believe her. God, I wanted to believe her so badly. Olivia Chen said she can invoke a fraud clause, that she can take everything from your family. Let her. I looked up, startled. What? Let her take it. If losing the ranch is what it takes for you to believe I love you more than the land, then I'll lose it gladly. Harper's face was fierce. I meant what I said before. You are more important than any of this. You and Grace, you're my family now. The only family I need. Your parents will understand. And if they don't, that's their problem. She cupped my face. I choose you, Riley. I will always choose you, even if it costs me everything else. I closed my eyes, tears streaming down. I don't want you to lose the ranch. I don't want to lose you. You haven't. You won't. I opened my eyes. But Harper, this has to be the last secret, ever. I can't keep discovering new lies, new manipulations. I just can't. No more secrets. I swear on Grace's life, on our life together. No more lies, no more omissions. Complete honesty, even when it's hard. Even when it's hard, I echoed. She kissed me, and I kissed her back, and we stood there on the porch of my old house, holding each other while our daughter slept inside. And I made my choice. I'm not calling Olivia Chen, I said. I'm not leaving, but we're going to therapy twice a week now instead of once. Done. And you're going to be completely transparent about everything involving the ranch and the will. Absolutely. And you're getting up with Grace for the next week of night feedings. I deserve that. I pulled back to look at her. I love you, you infuriating woman. But if you ever lie to me again, I won't. I promise, Riley. No more lies. Just us, figuring out this messy, beautiful life together. We went back to the main house together, where Catherine and Thomas were waiting anxiously. Is everything okay? Catherine asked. No, I said honestly, but it will be. Over the next weeks, we worked on rebuilding trust. Harper showed me every document related to the will, every email, every conversation. The lawyers confirmed that the amendment was real, that Harper had been trying to free me from obligation. Olivia Chen called me once more. Have you made your decision? She asked. I'm staying, and you can drop the fraud investigation. Are you sure? You have grounds. I'm sure. This marriage is real. It always has been. She was quiet for a moment. For what it's worth, I believe you. Your grandfather would have too. Thank you. 6 months later, on our official 1-year anniversary, Harper took me back to Vegas. Why are we here? I asked as we walked down the strip, Grace strapped to my chest in a carrier. Because we need a do-over. She stopped in front of a jewelry store. A real wedding. With real rings and our daughter as witness. We're already married. Legally, yes. But I want to marry you again. The right way this time. With full honesty and zero ulterior motives. She got down on one knee right there on the Vegas sidewalk, pulling out a box. Inside were 2 beautiful rings. White gold with small diamonds. Elegant and perfect. Riley Sinclair Bennett, I love you. I loved you from the moment I saw you in that U-Haul truck, and I'll love you until the day I die. Will you marry me again? For real this time? I laughed and cried and said yes, and we went to the same tacky chapel where Elvis married us the first time. But this time, we wrote our own vows. This time, we meant every word. I promise to be honest, even when it's hard, Harper said, her voice thick with emotion. I promise to choose you over everything else. I promise to be the partner and parent you deserve. I promise to trust you, even when I'm scared, I said. I promise to build this life with you, one honest moment at a time. I promise to love you through the complications, because you're worth every single one. Grace chose that moment to spit up on my dress, and we both laughed through our tears. That's very on brand for us, Harper said. Messy and chaotic? Perfect. We left Vegas as wives for the second time, but it felt nothing like the first. This time, we were choosing each other with full knowledge, full honesty, full hearts. The ranch stayed in the family. Grace grew into a rambunctious toddler who loved horses and mud, and her two moms equally. We had hard days and beautiful days and everything in between. And through it all, Harper kept her promise. No more secrets, no more lies. Just us, building a life that was complicated and messy and absolutely real. 5 years after that Vegas wedding, on the day the wills requirement officially expired, we renewed our vows again. Not in a chapel, but on the ridge where Harper had first kissed me, surrounded by family and ranch hands, and the mountains that had become our home. I'd marry you every year for the rest of our lives, Harper whispered as we danced under the Montana stars. That seems excessive. That seems perfect. And honestly, it really was. Well, there you have it. Riley and Harper's messy, beautiful, complicated love story. What did you think of the twist? Did you see it coming? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if this story resonated with you, if you've ever taken a chance on love despite the complications, I'd love to hear about it. Remember, the best stories are the ones where people choose each other every single day, not just once. Thanks for coming on this journey with me. Now go out there and write your own love story, just maybe with fewer legal complications.